Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here, hopefully your favorite Darktide YouTuber, and apologies for my outfit, the weather is way hot. Okay, listen, you guys have asked if I would give you my Recon Lasgun build. First things first, I have to tell you that this build only comes with a 64% win rate. Normally, all of the builds that I post have a 75 or higher win rate. That is my cutoff threshold. This is 11% lower than the cutoff threshold after numerous tests. But if you still really want to play the Recon Lasgun and you want my build for doing so, then I will give it to you. Furthermore, if you want to know how we played it in the field, how it's actually used in the field, you want examples of combat, check out this stream. The link is in the description of this video. It will help you out if you really want to see the combat, okay? You don't have to watch the full 3 hours. You can just watch the combat segments, those snippets here and there, see how I deal with elite, specialist, monsters, all that kind of stuff. Take it with you if you want, okay? All right. Now, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's get into this. How do we construct an effective Recon Lasgun build? All right, let's look at the talent tree first. And if we're going to go through this, then we need to do the following things. Camera vanish, and also cue epic, awesome music in the background. Okay. Anyone who knows where this is from, you're a god. Okay. When it comes to your talents, you are going to use the following things, okay? You want to get long shot, together with exhilarating takedown. Why? You are going to be aiming for heads a lot. This is going to help you, and it has now been fixed. You want to get your health boost, and come down here for a toughness boost. Now, me personally, I've also spent 2 extra points on close order drill and confirm kill. Why so much toughness damage reduction as well as toughness regeneration? I'm going to be very honest with you, because this build kills slower than all other builds. You genuinely need both exhilarating takedown and confirm kill in order to survive some of the harshest situations. If you find that you don't need it somehow, you know, I leave that up to you. That's up to you. Alright, but this is what I'm using right now. Okay, you want to come down to the left-hand side, take your Shredder Frag Grenade, which is very useful for applying bleed and also knocking back enemies from key objectives, teammates, things like that. Normally, I would take crack grenades, but we're going to solve the armor problem in a different way with this build. Why? It's also more economical. You can save 1 point by taking Shredder Frag Grenade, coming down here for the range damage boost, grabbing Catch a Breath, okay? This will help you regenerate when at a distance from ranged enemies that are shooting at you. You will still regenerate, okay? There are a lot of situations now where gunners are just shooting at you. This will help you in that situation. Then you want to grab Survivalist, one of the most important auras for any veteran. Why? Regenerating ammo for yourself and your team is crucial. Use this because it is very, very awesome in Auric Damnation when they're throwing specialists and elite at you like water, okay? Grab your reload boost, come to the center. Toughness damage reduction, grab Demolition Stockpile to regenerate your frag grenades, grab Voice of Command, and Duty and Honor, okay? Voice of Command will allow you to stagger enemies and replenish your own toughness, as well as survive Poxburster hits, sniper hits, together with Duty and Honor, which gives you 50 extra toughness for 15 seconds on top of your full toughness. This is so useful for yourself and your teammates because you can protect them from the same things. Bursters, snipers, things like that. It'll drain all your toughness in a single shot, but it can help you survive. Works across all difficulties, including Damnation. Okay? Next, Critical Chance Boost is an extension here because you're going to use the Recon Lasgun. Criticals are your bread and butter. Coming down from here, you want to grab your Suppression Boost, Born Leader, which you're forced to take, and then Tactical Awareness. Tactical Awareness gives you a cooldown of 6 seconds on a specialist enemy kill. Not elites, only specialists, okay? But it is very useful because let's say you kill a Poxburster, 2 Tox Flamers, or whatever. Your ability is practically cooled down and ready, you know, and maybe you survived a sniper hit as well for your team. You can help them survive again. These are some very narrow scenarios, but they are very, very helpful, okay? All right, great. Now that you understand about Tactical Awareness, you come over to the left-hand side, which is the main bread and butter of this tree. You want to grab your range damage boost. You want to grab Precision Strikes, which will give you more weak spot damage. You want to grab your toughness damage reduction, Shock Trooper, and Determined. A lot of players think that you don't need the suppression immunity. I'm going to tell you this is very, very useful when you've got all those gunners spamming fire at you. Then, you've got Fully Loaded, giving you more ammo, alright, more ammo reserves. Toughness damage reduction, which will help you survive even more. Superiority Complex, which will help you against elite enemies, alright. Then you've got Marksman, which you are forced to take, but it will be useful because anytime you do a weak spot hit, you gain 20% power after activating your voice of command for about 10 seconds. This is really, really good. Then you grab Marksman's Focus, which will really up your damage, turn it up to 11, especially against bosses, monstrosities, things like that, but not armored targets, okay? This is because the Recon Lasgun itself doesn't do much against armored targets. Then you want to grab Camouflage. Camouflage will allow you to gain 1 stack of focus every 0.75 seconds while standing still or walking while crouched, okay? And that is it for your talent tree. Now, I'm going to teach you, before we move on, a little trick with this talent tree, okay? Here, let's get back to the main game, okay? And I hope you enjoyed the awesome Ultramarines music. Now, when you have stacks of focus, right, and you start running around, you lose the stacks one at a time. You do not lose the whole thing, okay? So Marksman's Focus can be used in that regard. Like, let's say you're crouched and whatever. You gain it while standing still as well as on kill. This can help you up your damage to quite an extent, but notice if it's Carapace Armor, it's still not going to do very much. If it's Carapace Armor, just shoot the body, alright? Now, this means that you won't be able to use this gun against Crushers and whatnot, but don't worry, that's what your Power Sword's for. You got a Crusher? Start swinging for the head. Okay? There you go. I will go through the strengths and weaknesses of this build in a little bit, but first and foremost, let's talk about the gear you're going to need. Okay, camera vanish again, and then holy music in the background. Okay. Now, how do you work on your gear? For your Power Sword, your perks don't matter. Perks are unimportant, okay? But what is important is your blessings. If you can roll Maniacs and Carapace Armor, then you've got a God roll. Okay? But if you can't, don't worry too much about perks. Perks are less important than the blessings. Your blessings are crucial and you must get both. Power Cycler is very important for this build. Why? Because it allows you to perform 3 energized hits instead of 1 when you power up the weapon. This is great for cleaving through hordes, as well as dealing with armored targets, especially in Auric Damnation and Damnation level. Your next blessing is a bit more flexible. I personally like Brutal Momentum. Some people prefer Slaughterer. It's up to you what you want. But Brutal Momentum helps me deal a little bit of extra weak spot damage, which allows me to take care of most targets more quickly, alright? So that's why I like Brutal Momentum. In terms of your stats, what you want to go for is high damage, high finesse, and high mobility. The dodge distance of the Power Sword is negative. Why? Because it is a very immobile weapon. So having a very high mobility solves that problem. High damage obviously increases the base damage of your weapon. Finesse will increase your crit spot and weak spot multipliers, as well as your attack speed. But the thing that you have to know about the Power Sword is that the Power Sword actually has a negative multiplier. So you technically deal lower damage if you hit the weak spot. This is softened by all the multipliers that you have anyway, so try to get your finesse as high as possible to soften the blow, basically. You're not going to soften it by much, okay? A 60% finesse multiplier is still going to be like a times 0.7 something-ish on this sword, so you're not going to lose all that much if your finesse isn't that high, but try to roll it as high as possible. Cleave damage and cleave targets, take whatever you can get, but try to get them both above 60, and you'll be good to go. Alright? Great. That is it for the Power Sword. Now, one thing you need to understand about the Power Sword is that if you are dealing with an armored target, try to power up and do the push attack, alright? Now, if you do not swing immediately after with the Power Sword, you will lose your charge. So, how do you solve this? Like that. Swing immediately after doing your push attack. You'll dish out a lot more damage than if you swing. Alright, if you just swing normally, it does something like that. If you do this, well, let me show you after this thing respawns real quickly. If you do this, and you swing, you tend to do more, okay? There you go. So that's how you can deal with Crushers in a single blow. Just be very careful with it. If there are multiple Crushers, it might be more prudent to do your swings normally, okay? Alright, now for your Recon Lasgun, which is the key of this build, you want the Mark II version. Why? It is the most ammo efficient and it balances both damage and ammo efficiency. For this particular gun, there is one perk that is a must-have, which is your critical strike chance. The other are 2 must-have blessings. Unfortunately, it'll be tougher to roll for the ranged weapon than the melee weapon because there are 2 mandatory blessings and a mandatory perk, okay? For the mandatory blessings, you're going to need Headhunter, at least a tier 3, alright, but tier 4 is best, and Infernus must be tier 4. This will allow you to apply burn stacks very rapidly and also have a higher maximum count of burn stacks, if I recall correctly. Either way, it is your best blessing because it'll help you burn your opponents, saving you ammo, dealing more damage, and it's especially useful against bosses as well. Alright? For your stats, what you're going to want is high damage because there's no stopping power here, so damage is your only way of upping your overall damage dealing capabilities. Ammo, as high as possible. And then that's it. These two are the most important stats. You must get them as close to 80 as possible. For the rest of your stats, anything above 60 is good. Okay, so mobility 60, stability 60, good enough. Collateral can be whatever you want. Ideally, I would prefer my mobility to be maxed out as well, allowing me to have a higher, slightly marginally higher dodge distance, but honestly, anything above 60 is good. Okay, you literally don't have to worry about this. Because if you look at the ranges, right, you're not going to get much value even if this was 70 or 80. So mobility above 60 is fine. Otherwise, you can go for stability. But even then, this is not going to adjust you by very, very much. Okay, so stability around 60, 70 is good enough. So, yeah. Stats-wise, this is easy to roll. It's the blessings and the perks that are going to kill you on this. So you get ready to spend a lot of plasteel as opposed to auto dockets. Okay? Great. Now that you understand the Recon Lasgun, let's talk about the Curios. The Curios are very simple. You want toughness, you want max health, and you want toughness. You do not need a stamina curio on this any longer because you are no longer benefiting off dead shot. It does not feature in this build because there aren't enough points and it's most likely going to get you killed. Okay. For your perks, toughness, regeneration speed, and damage resistance versus gunners is pretty much the same across the board. What else can you use here? I use toughness. Well, actually, I take whatever I can get because Curios are hard to finalize. But other than toughness, regeneration speed, and gunners, combat ability regeneration, stamina regeneration, extra toughness and health, all up to you. Grab whatever you think you need. I have a varied loadout because I really didn't want to roll more Curios, but this is basically what I'm using. All right, that's it for the Curios as well. And now let me talk a little bit about the strengths and the weaknesses of this build. Okay, I don't want to waste a lot of your time, so I'm just going to go through it really quickly. The Recon Lasgun cannot deal with armor. Excuse me. No matter how hard you hit the target, you are still going to not be able to mag dump a crusher. Okay, so give up on that idea really quickly. What you should be using your Recon Lasgun for is every target other than the crushers and the maulers. For the maulers, well, for the maulers, it's a bit special. You can hit the body, but you benefit off nothing. So do this only if they are at a distance and you want to stop one or two from coming in. Otherwise, focus your attacks on things like the Dread Gunners, things like that, the Specialists, the Dread Ragers. You rip through them fairly quickly, assuming you hit the head. Alright, this is what your Headhunter is for. You get through them and you'll be very ammo efficient as well. You can take out your Maniac targets. Now, if you manage to roll Maniac on this, it gets even better and it gets even crazier. I would love to have more Maniac damage on this if I could. But basically, this is what you would use your Recon Lasgun for. You can also use it on Reapers to delete them fairly quickly, especially once you've got 10 focus stacks. They just sort of melt, just like that. When it comes to bulwarks, alright, what you want to do is throw your grenade, alright, destabilize them as much as you can, and then start swinging your power sword. Okay, try to aim roughly in the direction of the head, and you're good to go. When it comes to crushers, you want to deal with them in the way that I showed you, like that. You can score a lucky critical hit. Same with the maulers. You can actually score a lot of damage if you go for the head. But if you've got multiples of them coming in, although it does way less damage, you will get much more of your targets all in one go like that. So I just sort of cleave through them like that. Okay? When it comes to muties, right, and you want to deal with them using the sword, you can just swing directly at the head. Now, if you cannot do this technique and accurately aim for the head, it's okay. It's okay. Alright, for muties, I just swing like that and they just die off. That should about cover it. Just remember that your Recon Lasgun is one where you have to dodge while firing at the enemy and try to go for the head as much as you possibly can. This is to benefit off focus fire. Okay? That is it for your strengths and weaknesses of this build. Just remember that your time to kill is a lot lower than a plasma gun or revolver, which is why it ended up with a 64% win rate. So use it at your own risk, but if you really want to mag dump and act like a Kasserkin with a hotshot lasgun, this is basically your closest means of, you know, cosplaying that. So that's about it. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Once again, I am so sorry that I cannot do the individual shoutouts at the end of this video. I know you guys have been waiting, and I feel really bad for not being able to name every single person that's helped me out. I really want to keep doing that, so please bear with me while we get things sorted. As soon as I have it all done, you know, I'll stop doing the blanket thank yous. But for now, thank you to every single channel member. Thank you to everybody who has super chatted. Thank you to all the people who have tipped. You guys are so kind. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a good one. Catch you later, okay? Bye.